Hey guys, Ultra Maximus here, and I'm back with a 3D review, another Blu Ray 3D review. I've had this movie for a minute, man. I've had this, oh goodness, I want to say this is September, probably 9 months or so. I got it when it came out on Blu Ray 3D, not too long after it came out on Blu Ray 3D. And it is Priest in 3D. I bought it, I just kind of let it sit there on the shelf, and I just really never got around to it, and I'm kind of sad I didn't, because this movie was flipping awesome. Total shock. I thought it was going to be whatever, and it turned out to be a fantastic film. So let's take a look at the jacket, let's see what's in it, what it comes with, what's on the disc, and then let's talk about the movie, let's talk about the 3D, all that kind of stuff. So, Priest, here's the cover. We've got a nice kind of chromy, multicolor jacket set. There's the back side of it. It looks like on the inside it's a clear Blu-ray case. Same thing like usual. It's the outer jacket with that stuff on there. It's a flip open disc. And then on the inside, it's, I believe, just the one disc. And this is kind of nice. You get the, the little 3D, hey, this stuff's out on 3D too from Sony Pictures. But here's the disc. It's a one disc set, Priest 3D, and you can play this 2D or 3D. But what's nice is that on the inside jacket, we've got this little monster thing here, and it's a guardian, I think is what it's called. It protects the vampire hives, so I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of nice little additive. You don't see that too often anymore, so it's kind of cool when you see those types of things. So yeah, Priest. So what is this movie? What is this about? I really didn't know too much about it from the commercials. I remember the trailers. It came out last May of 2011, and I remember seeing the ads for it, and I was like, yeah, it looks like some kind of post-apocalyptic vampire movie or something. And to a point, it is. I want to go into it a little bit more, but I want to talk about what it comes with, what's all on here. It's got deleted scenes and extended scenes. It's got a couple making ofs, the Bloody Frontier, creating the world of Priest, tools of the trade, weapons and vehicles, filmmaker and cast commentaries. The Blu-ray exclusives are Bullets and Crucifixes, picture-in-picture experience with Movie IQ plus Sync, and then the Blu-ray 3D exclusives is a weapons and vehicle exploration in 3D, plus it also has a trailer for Uncharted 3 3D, which is pretty cool. Now, I got this movie at Walmart for $25. This is not an expensive Blu-ray movie because it wasn't. I don't think it did all that great in the theater, and they're just trying to get as many out there as possible. So, what is this movie about? Well, it's based off of the Korean comic book of the same title, Priest. And this movie is essentially, it's a combination of a Western. It's got elements of Blade Runner in it. It's got a lot of elements of Judge Dredd. It's got elements of Star Wars in it. It's got elements of Equilibrium in it. There's some fighting scenes that are reminiscent of The Matrix, which Equilibrium was very heavy on. I think it's more Equilibrium than it is Matrix. But, yeah, damn fine little film, especially for the price. It stars Paul Bettany, and I really don't remember seeing him in anything. I'll have to look it up online. But I tell you what, he did a good job, and if they rebooted Highlander, that's the guy right there. I mean, when I watched the film, I'm like, he's the Highlander. Absolutely, he's the Highlander. Maggie Q is also in it, who is in Nikita on the CW. She's also a former model. She does a pretty good job. She does better job in this than on Nikita, the TV show. I don't particularly care for that show much. And then Carl Urban is the bad guy, which is pretty darn cool. And essentially what this movie is about, it's in the future, it's post-apocalyptic. There's been a war between vampires and humans, and they've basically destroyed the earth. The human culture basically look to the church, which they don't. They just call it the church, but it's pretty much the Catholic Church. Being Catholic, I saw everything that there was. I mean, the confessionals. You have the priests, the monsignors rule a council. I'm surprised they didn't call the one guy a pope. Chris Plummer is in it as the head monsignor of the one city, and it's just really good film. Basically, the church creates these priests to go out and slaughter the vampires. They're the weapon against the vampires, and they're basically a cross between like Jedi and the clerics that you see in Equilibrium, and they're pretty badass. They're pretty awesome. So they basically win the war for the humans, and they put the vampires on reservations. And then it turns into a Western right then and there, because there are the wastelands and the outlands and these farmers and these little settlements out and about, and they ride these motorcycles, very reminiscent of Star Wars, with the speeder bikes. But they're also very horse-like in the fact that you're riding this bike through the desert and everything. We got a nice train sequence in there. We've got Carl Urban basically dresses like a cowboy in the film. And lots of old Western feel to it. A little steampunky, which is fine. And it's just to the point of being a little steampunky because of the Western flavor to it. But, there's no mystical or anything like that. It's very futuristic, apocalyptic type looking technology mixed with a Wild West feel. So that gives it a tinge of steampunk to it. But yeah, very cool. Total surprise film for me. The vampires are very alien-like. They have no eyes, and they're very and jumpy, and something that you would see in Doom or something like that. And then there's a vampire queen who's very bat-like, very large, and she basically cuts her wrist and feeds Carl Urban her blood, and turns him into this half-human, half-vampire creation. And he's kind of like Blade, except evil and a Jedi cleric badass, which is very cool. So, and it's a quick movie too, which I liked. I appreciated that, because so many movies right now are so fucking long. And I like the content, don't get me wrong, but it's refreshing to see a movie that's 120 minutes. It's fast-paced. It's got a very basic plot outline. The priest's family gets kidnapped by vampires. He's going out to save him. The church has put him out as an outcast. One of the priests that he used to run with, she joins up with him. The rest of the priests are looking for him, hunting him down, and it basically turns into he's going after Carl Urban to stop the vampires from attacking the cities, which is pretty cool because the cities have these nice big nasty clouds and stuff over them. They're very dark and dingy. So yeah, a very quick, fast-paced movie, very, very lighthearted. There's nothing too overcomplicated to think about in this film. So it's a very nice sit back, relax. You don't have to worry about things watching it, action type of movie. And that's a nice change. So it was very nice, very fast-paced. I really did like it. The 3D in this movie, it was originally supposed to be a 2D, and they converted it to a 3D, so it delayed. This actually was supposed to have been made years ago, I think around 2004 or 2005, and I think Gerard Butler was attached to play the lead character, but it fell through, and they finally did it and got it put out. But yeah, I remember it being a while in production, but they decided to go from 2D to 3D, and that was fine. There's some pretty good 3D scenes, and the 3D in this is not like, oh my god, it's amazing, but it does have some very, very good 3D scenes in it. Like, the scenes in the cities are very cool because they're like, I would think they're kind of an apocalyptic version of London during the Industrial Age, where there's like tons of smoke and soot everywhere, and it's like snowing soot where people have to carry umbrellas, and you don't see the sun until you get miles and miles out of the city. And the soot coming down, and the city scenes look really nice in 3D. And there's some nice statues that they pass in the desert in 3D, looks very cool. And a few other scenes that just look really nice in 3D. The vampire hives look kind of cool. But and then there's a scene where the vampires attack a town, and they start burning it and then destroying it, basically. And the fire embers and the ashes, and Carl Urban in the middle of it, kind of Joker-like almost. Very cool, very neat. They're really good 3D scenes in it, but I wouldn't say this is like, oh my god, I gotta, the 3D really makes this movie. It doesn't. It enhances it, but it doesn't make the movie. What makes the movie is it's different than what I've seen come out in film in a while. It's fun, it's actiony, it's quick, it's very graphic, it's very violent, which is cool, and they set it up great for a sequel, which I hope they do. I don't think this did too terribly well in the box office, so I'm hoping its budget wasn't too large and it made enough money where they can get a sequel out, because I really would like to see where this goes. Very cool, very fun. Is this a good family movie? No, it's not. This is definitely something the kids are not going to watch. There's no sex in it. It's just really violent. So I would say, this has got to be a rated R film. This particular version is unrated. I would think this is a rated R film. The teenagers are going to be okay watching this. That's for sure. It's mostly killing vampires and slaughtering vampires is the most violent part of the movie, with some human violence, but mostly vampires and bad guys. So yeah, the teenagers will be okay with it. Definitely not something for little kids. But at the same token, there was a missed market for toys in this, because the vampires, the Guardian, the vehicles, the characters, they could have all made really good action figures, and with their weapons as nice accessory pieces. So there was a missed marketing opportunity definitely there with this movie. But at the same token, they probably didn't want to sell it to little kids. But is what it is, I guess, right? So would I recommend this movie? Absolutely. Even if you can't find it in Blu-ray 3D, go buy it on 2D, because it is a really, really good movie. And you might as well, if you got a 3D player, I would definitely get this for my 3D collection, because there are a lot of scenes in it that look cool in 3D, but it's just a damn good movie, especially for $25 and in 3D. You can't go wrong here. So there it is, guys. Priest 3D. Hope you enjoyed it, and look for more videos in the future. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.